We're embarking on this protest march to send a powerful message to the French authorities that Nigerians are indeed aware of its nefarious activities with regards to the ongoing war against terrorism in northeast of Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism as a civil society organization, we have decided to take our protest to the French embassy where we are now, in Abuja.
Welcome to AfriPlus News Channel, your #1 source for bold, relevant, and uncensored African perspectives. If this is your first time here, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And to our returning viewers, thank you for always supporting the truth. Remember, your engagement helps us reach more people and uncover more stories that matter. This isn't just a protest, it's a symbolic resistance, a reclaiming of voice, and a loud rejection of colonial legacies. Let's dive into this thought-provoking story. In a powerful display of unity and determination, hundreds of Nigerian women marched to the France embassy in Nigeria, raising their voices against what they described as France's toxic influence in the country. Dressed in traditional attire and carrying bold placards, these women represented not just themselves, but generations of mothers, sisters, and daughters who have borne the brunt of foreign exploitation and neocolonial interference. This is not a small movement. This is a message wrapped in years of suppressed anger and rising awareness. What does it say when the women, the traditional custodians of life, family, and culture, rise up against a foreign power? Are we listening deeply enough to understand the pain behind their protest? The message to France: leave Nigeria. The central demand from the protesters was clear. France must leave Nigeria.
Over 1,000 women protesting in the France embassy at the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, Nigeria, saying that France must leave Nigeria.
Addressing the media in front of the French consulate, convener Princess Ajibola said the mission was to get Macron's attention that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and any attempt to compromise its territorial integrity will be resisted.
We're embarking on this protest march to send a powerful message to the French authorities that Nigerians are indeed aware of its nefarious activities with regards to the ongoing war against terrorism in northeast of Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism as a civil society organization, we have decided to take our protest to the French embassy where we are now, in Abuja, so the message could be relayed to the French authorities wherever they are in France that Nigeria is indeed a sovereign country, and as such, any form or attempt to compromise our territorial integrity will be resisted wholeheartedly.
According to Madam Ajibola, the group has overwhelming evidence to back up its claim that the European nation is indeed behind the recent upsurge in terrorism in the country.
The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to state categorically and on unequivocal terms that France is indeed responsible for the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks in Nigeria in recent times, because there is overwhelming evidence that it has been selling arms and ammunition to the Boko Haram terrorist group. This is authenticated. These arms come into the country through our Francophone neighboring countries. We also wish to send this message to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, that what France is doing under his watch is indeed a crime against humanity. As such, it must, and as a matter of urgency, desist from spreading terrorism in Nigeria and other African countries.
The group reckoned that the French action is born out of greed, hinged on economic benefits owing to the avalanche of economic resources in the northeast, particularly the Lake Chad Basin region.
The movement against slavery and terrorism sees the actions of France as an assault on our sovereignty as a country, that is Nigeria. This is indeed despicable and must be condemned by all and sundry. We are also aware that the actions of France are hinged on economic benefits, given the avalanche of economic resources in northeast Nigeria, particularly the Lake Chad Basin region. This is indeed an attempt at recolonization. What did I say? It is another attempt at recolonization by France. After we have been colonized by Britain, we are not under France, and we will not allow for France to come and colonize us again by violence.
The movement therefore warned the French authorities to desist from further mischief, which has undermined the remarkable gains of the Nigerian army, while also calling on the United Nations to the crime against humanity being perpetrated by Macron.
This blunt and unapologetic statement speaks volumes about the growing discontent with France's continued involvement in African affairs, especially in West Africa. The women accuse France of parasitic economic relationships, political interference, and the perpetuation of instability across the region. How did a former colonial power maintain such a strong grip on the economies and political systems of the very countries it once colonized? And why is that grip only being challenged now with such visible feminine rage? France's legacy, a history of harm or help. For decades, France has positioned itself as a partner to Africa, but many Africans now see that partnership as exploitative. From currency control through the CFA franc in Francophone countries to suspected political manipulation and military interference, France's presence on the continent has often come at a steep price.
Only if the African people can come together, starting now in West Africa, and tell, in this case, the colonial power France, to get the hell out, to keep your paltry development aid, to forget about the idea that you can power yourself at our expense while we live in darkness and penury. You live as a superpower, as a nuclear-armed superpower with veto, vote and power in the United Nations. While we remain poor, you are rich. Forget about that. If the African people of West Africa can come together and at least say that, you will have struck a blow for all of the people of all of the tribes of West Africa. Think about that. Because the real division in the world, I promise you, it's not between the Igbos and others in Nigeria. The real division in the world is between the haves and the have-nots.
In Nigeria, even though it's not a Francophone nation, France's economic influence has raised eyebrows. Multinational contracts, foreign control of resources, and diplomatic policies that prioritize foreign interests over Nigerian welfare have caused immense frustration among the people. When our mothers cry out and say, France has done more harm than good, should we not pause and ask, what exactly has France done for Africa that justifies its enduring presence? And more importantly, who truly benefits from their continued stay? A symbol of a wider resistance. This protest isn't just about France or Nigeria. It's symbolic of a continental awakening. Across West Africa, from Mali to Burkina Faso, Guinea to Niger, there's a growing movement against foreign control, especially French influence.
Africa must be free. Africa must be free. Africa must be free. Africa must unite. No way. No way. No way. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. It's an injury to her. It's an injury to her. An injury to her. No way! Thank you. No way! No way! No way!
The women of Nigeria have now added their voice to this pan-African resistance. They are not just protesting, they are aligning with a continental narrative that says Africa must own its destiny. Their courage should spark a broader question for every African citizen. Are we ready to challenge those who benefit from our silence? And can this movement become a defining moment in Africa's journey to total liberation? The role of women in African liberation. Historically, women have played a silent yet powerful role in African liberation. From Ya Asantewa of Ghana to the Aba women's riots in Nigeria. Today's protest echoes those legacies. These women are not waiting for men or politicians. They are standing as defenders of truth, demanding sovereignty and accountability. Why do we often underestimate the power of women in shaping Africa's political future? And what would happen if more women across the continent followed their lead? Why the world isn't talking about this enough? Despite the significance of this protest, international media coverage has been minimal. Why is it that when Africans protest against France or Western interests, it's often ignored or downplayed by global platforms? This is not a conspiracy, it's a reality of narrative control. The world doesn't want to highlight Africans rejecting Western influence because it disrupts the carefully curated image of benevolent partnerships. Should we continue to rely on international media to tell our stories? Or is it time for Africans to build their own media empires and own their truths? A new wave of consciousness. What we are witnessing is more than a moment. It's a movement. The younger generation, fueled by the internet, education, and cultural pride, is beginning to ask uncomfortable questions. Why are our economies still shackled? Why are foreign military bases still on our soil? Why do we need validation from foreign governments to make our own decisions? The protest by these Nigerian women is a spark in a sea of dry grass. It has the potential to ignite a Pan-African fire for justice. Are we ready to fan the flames of true independence? And will we be bold enough to imagine and demand a future where Africa decides its own fate? The responsibility of African leaders. While the people are protesting, African leaders remain largely silent or complicit. Many governments are still bound by economic agreements and political alliances that prioritize foreign powers over their own citizens. The question now is, will African leaders finally listen to their people or continue to serve foreign interests? When the cries of the people are ignored, history shows that revolutions follow. Should African governments be more afraid of losing France or losing the trust of their people? The global implications of this protest. This protest may seem like a Nigerian affair, but its implications are global. If more African nations begin to reject France and other foreign powers, it could lead to a seismic shift in global politics. From resource control to military alliances, the world will have to reckon with a rising, unified, and unapologetic Africa. Are we witnessing the beginning of the end of neocolonialism? Or will the powers that be do everything they can to suppress this movement? Conclusion. For decades, numerous individuals have voiced concerns regarding France's exploitative actions in Africa. The historical legacy of colonialism has fostered lingering inequalities, prompting critiques of France's ongoing influence in various African nations. Many argue that these dynamics perpetuate economic dependency and hinder progress. Calls for accountability and a reevaluation of diplomatic relations reflect a growing discontent towards perceived neocolonial practices. The protest by Nigerian women at the French embassy is not just a one-day event. It is a historic milestone in the larger journey toward African liberation. It is a call to action for all Africans to reflect, rise, and reclaim their dignity. These women have shown courage. Now it's our turn to listen, learn, and act. Here at AfriPlus News Channel, we remain committed to bringing you these critical stories. But we can't do it without you. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you appreciate the value of what we do, consider joining our channel as a member or dropping a super thanks to support independent African journalism. Most importantly, we want to hear from you. Do you believe France's presence in Nigeria and Africa at large has done more harm than good? Do you think African leaders will finally listen to the people? And what future do you envision for a fully sovereign Africa? Drop your thoughts respectfully in the comment section. We read and engage with them all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay conscious, stay African. Disclaimer: this video is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It does not promote hate speech, violence, or discrimination against any individual, country, or government. All opinions expressed are grounded in documented events and are presented respectfully in line with YouTube's community guidelines.